APN Films, thank you for a $5 super chat. So I had a minor crash, and now when I arm, only 2 motors will spin. What should I do? Buy a new ESC, probably. Probably buy a new ESC. Sorry. You probably fried your ESC. I love it. I love it how people say, I had a minor crash, and now my ESC is broken. It's like, oh, it was a minor crash? Oh, then your ESC is probably fine. Like, everybody says it was a minor crash. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. The outcome is the same. Right? Like, the fact that it seems like the crash was minor will mean that you are annoyed at the manufacturer of the hardware for it being not being as durable as you would have liked. But it doesn't really affect my troubleshooting process. Zippy asks, would you not recommend the new Clear Boxer because it doesn't come in the 4-in-1 setup? No, I don't have a 4-in-1 radio as my major radio now, and I don't have any FreeSky receivers. All of my stuff is Express LRS, Crossfire, or Ghost, mostly Express LRS. So, I mean, if you have a lot of FreeSky, then you would probably want a 4-in-1 if you know, but I wouldn't like blanket not recommend it. The Tom John wants to know advice on mounting LEDs under the arms. Wish there was clear electrical tape. Get clear heat shrink. Get clear heat shrink with the arm off the quad. Like solder some wires to the LED. No, sorry. With the arm off the quad, put the heat shrink over the arm. Then put the arm on the quad, the motor, etc. Put the LEDs on the underside of the arm, and then shrink the heat shrink. Boom. That's the answer. Matteo RC FPV wants to know, what type of monitor do you need to share Walk Snail video goggles? I bought 2 different monitors and it's not supported on either. Matteo, the number one reason that this happens is that you are in high frame rate mode. High frame rate mode is 100 frames per second, and almost no monitors support 720p at 100 frames per second. They just barf and they don't display anything. If you have like a gaming monitor, like a computer monitor, not like a little handheld monitor, like if you have a computer monitor that supports high frame rate, it probably will work with the 100 FPS. But what most people do is they'll go down from high frame rate to standard frame rate. That is 60 FPS, and it will probably work. RC Moore wants to know if there is a whoop with O3N Crossfire. Recommendations. We had this question on a stream earlier, and somebody gave me a tiny quadcopter with an O3. What's the smallest bind and fly with O3? Was it a beta FPV? What was it? Somebody makes like a 75 millimeter with an O3. Cinelog, that's it. There's an Axis flying too. So here's the Cinelog 2003. That surely comes with Crossfire, I assume. Yeah. TBS Nano RX. So this is a good choice if you're looking for something. Oh, the Pavo Pico. There we go. That's a good one. Yes, the Pavo Pico. This is a good one. Available with TBS. Good choice. I think the Cinelog is going to be more durable than the Pavo Pico, but I don't know that for sure. The Pavo Pico is going to be, I wager, a little lighter. Although maybe I'm guessing just from looks. Those are some choices. $500. Okay, so wait, $139 is not right. This price does not include the DJI VTX. That is just for the frame. That's gotta be. Surely that's misleading. Yeah. Right here, it's like they are not included. That needs to be more clear. I think. That needs to be like up at the top. That this $500 price, I mean, that's just what, like the O3 is 200 and something dollars all by itself. So, it's just what things are going for these days, unfortunately. Yeah, so those are some good choices. Let's see. We got a question here from Domsa19, who asks, how would you rate the Cinelogue 2.0 versus the Pavo Pico? Oh, well, let's show the Cineon C20 as well. That's only fair. That's Axis Flying's 2-inch. Of these three, I think that probably the most reliable choice... Oh, you guys can't see this. I didn't switch screens. So here's the Axis Flying Cineon C20, which is another 2-inch O3 Cinewhoop style quad. Of these ones, the one that I would personally feel the safest recommending is the Cinelogue 2.0, because the Gep RC Cinelog and Cinebot series of quadcopters has been a good, reliable choice that I've heard a lot of people be happy with for a while now. And that counts for something in this industry. I don't have personal experience with any of them, although I do have a Pavo Pico that I will be checking out. We've got a whole bunch of suggestions here. I want to thank these folks for their contribution. Just pop them up on screen. Apparently, they've got an Emax Cinewhoop. I'm not really familiar with that. But Mike Bergman with a little bit of shade there. The Pavo Pico, though, is very interesting because it is not really intended to carry a high-definition camera. And all of the other ones are kind of intended on some level to carry either a GoPro or maybe an Insta360 Go. And so they have a lot more weight than they really need to. And if you want the smallest, lightest package with no intention of carrying a high-definition camera, then the Pavo Pico is really interesting. And I've heard a lot of people being really happy with it. So I will be... Pico. Super Deluxe says it's the Pavo Pico. Pico? Well... So those are some thoughts in that direction. Matt Sanders asks, in iNav, is there a return to home feature, or is it just activating failsafe? Not seeing it in modes. Matt Sanders, iNav absolutely has a return to home feature. If you're not seeing it in modes, it makes me wonder if your GPS is set up correctly. I know that iNav won't show you the flight modes that rely on the GPS if the GPS is not working or not configured. So that's my best guess as to why you're not seeing it. The Tom John says the QAV Pro 20 flies the best but has the worst camera mount. Okay. Edwin Ramirez wants to know, thank you for $5, Edwin Ramirez. What's the best recommended settings for AM32 ESCs, the SkyStars 50 amp? To be honest with you, man, for ESCs, I run the defaults. And then if there's some kind of a problem like desyncs or something, maybe I'll change them. But in general, it is usually the case that the default settings for an ESC are they may not give you the absolute best performance, but as soon as you start messing with things like timing or other settings in there, then you also potentially cause problems. And so most of the time, I just run the defaults. And if you were going to try to find the best settings, well, that's going to depend on what size motor you've got, what prop you've got, and other details that are not really stipulated in the question. So I would say the best recommended settings for most people are the defaults. Boring answer, I know.